This is Danny Gallagher from the WSJF Radio Ministry Team. We're very proud to present episode 11 of Married and Family Living with the Grasleys. In this episode, Al and Linda have come up with a smorgasbord of family and married couple topics to talk about. The topics run from Al's weight loss, to how they help their young children be more comfortable coming to Mass, to the importance of maintaining regular spousal interaction during the busyness of the summer months. So thanks to Al and Linda for sharing their thoughts in this episode. Let's listen in.
Welcome to Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF, a show focused on the domestic church, the family, which is the foundation of faith and spirituality.
We hope you find our stories encouraging and helpful as we share our challenges of married and family living.
Well, Linda, somehow we got to record that right at the beginning of a show and just have them use that same thing over and over again. Yes, because it gets me too nervous when I say that. So this is episode 11. Can you believe it's episode 11 already, dear?
I cannot believe it. Every month. You can't believe it, can you?
No, you can't. What did you come up with to talk about this month?
Well, we were struggling, right?
Yes, we were struggling.
We did have some questions and a few ideas given to us. So it's going to be a hodgepodge.
It's going to be total different. It's like a chicken dinner, which is coming up in August here at St. Joe's.
Yeah, the barbecue.
Chicken barbecue,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
It'll be fun.
Coleslaw, salad, chicken, steak. I don't think they're going to have steak.
No, I don't think so. Lobster, no. No.
All right, so we got some questions. Really, are you being serious about?
Well, I think people were interested on your quarter-pound weight loss that you were talking about.
That was way back.
Did you lose the quarter pound?
I lost the quarter pound and more, which is shocking, really. So I guess we should probably go into that, huh? Okay, so
sure.
I really did lose a quarter pound that one time. And then I usually did in January. I wanted to be like, all right, it's New Year's. I need to lose some weight. Linda could attest.
You always do it during Lent. You give up a lot of different foods.
Yeah, for Lent. But things. January, I was pretty heavy in January. I think I was the heaviest I've ever been. I was like, I need to start doing something. So I did my usual stuff, which usually tries to help me lose weight. And
you lost a little.
Yeah, like 2 pounds. And I'm like, this is too much uncomfortableness for just 2 pounds. And luckily, I have a friend that the family goes to the parish here, but him and his wife are excellent dietitians, I should say, and workout partners. We work out once in a while.
Yeah, you work out together.
They came over to our house on Sunday, I think it was, and kind of laid out for us a plan, which is basically, it's kind of like the keto diet, but it's a little more carbs than the keto diet. I think the keto diet, you have to be less than 15 carbs a day.
Oh, wow. Really?
This diet was, for me, it was 75 to 100 carbs a day. Mm-hmm. And they came over and showed us what to eat and how to eat it. And Linda over here took that and went crazy with this awesome spreadsheet.
So cool. I love spreadsheets.
It was a cool thing. So Linda really helped me out because she planned out what I was supposed to eat every day.
To
during the whole
keep you
week.
Within the parameters.
Keep me within the parameters, and everything was mapped out, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was painful. But I was surprised at how much weight I lost. So, and then Ash Wednesday started.
Right, you started Ash Wednesday really tracking everything.
Clamp it down, because I did have a Fat Tuesday. I went out and celebrated a little bit on Fat Tuesday, because I was fat. So
it was quite a celebration.
So today, so from Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday, I lost about 35 pounds.
Yep.
So I kind of got off it, but I'm still kind of on it. And then I lost another 5 pounds. So I'm actually down 40 pounds since January 1st, I guess it is. Mm-hmm. So
you look great. Had to get new clothes.
Yeah, it would actually be cheaper just for me to put the weight back on so all my clothes would fit. But Linda would rather me not do that. So.
Just by what we were eating, I lost 10 pounds. And I wasn't even, you worked it out a lot.
Yes.
At least 5 times a week. And
I'm still kind of going without stuff. I'm like, I don't need that.
Well, and I think some of the stuff we cut out, we don't even miss.
Yeah, we don't even miss. So, and I switched to Ultra.
A beer?
Yeah, the beer. Yeah. I switched to Ultra, which people, they're like, oh, that's just a water.
We never drank any heavy beer anyway.
So, yeah. But the Ultras only has 2.6 grams of carbs. So... And it tastes good, actually.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Really, the the keto diet, I'm sold on that.
You are. I think, though, I mean, we did check with our doctors if anybody were interested in it. I'm sure you'd love to talk to them, but you really should check with your doctor, too, because I know people with diabetes and certain heart conditions, it may not be something that they should go to.
Right.
But,
and then we recently saw a documentary on that on Netflix called The Magic Pill, which came out in 2017, which is really, it doesn't tell you how to do the keto.
It's anecdotal, stuff,
but it's still
But it was fascinating to see even diseases that were cured by taking away essentially sugars.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sure they were extreme cases.
I'm very proud of you. I know that wasn't easy for you, but once you got rolling.
As soon as you get like 10 or 15 pounds off, that's all you want to do is like, I can't wait till next week to weigh in.
When you see the results.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it was, thanks for asking. So people say, oh, you lost some weight. I'm like, yeah, I did. Thanks for asking. So thanks for noticing.
And the other thing that we had talked about trips and everything, our summer plans. Somebody was curious about what we did. I think we talked last month about the family reunion, my family reunion, 5 days in Nantahala. I was saying Nantahala, but they say Nantahala. I don't think they did the T, Nantahala, whatever. Anyway, it was fun. We had a lot of fun. Zip lining, horse riding. You liked hanging out at the pool.
It was a little too busy for me, but it was nice. The pool was nice. The zip lining as a family was kind of cool because when are we going to get to do that again?
Right.
And
last week you just came back from North Carolina again. Yes,
Boy Scout camp, which really wasn't a vacation, but I guess it was. I don't know. It was.
You were away from work.
I was away from work, but I know, like, I hate to say it, but your family reunion kind of seemed like an obligation that I had to be there. I really wasn't able to relax. Boy Scout camp was kind of like that. It's like 22 boys, 2 adult leaders with 2 full-time adult leaders, me being one of them. I was just not prepared for some of the...
there were a lot of first-year boys, too,
kids.
more than half.
Yeah, we went a little bit further than usual. I think it was 6.5 hours.
It was too far.
But there's nothing like July summer heat in North Carolina without any AC for 6 days and 6 nights in a canvas tent. Whew! I lost 7 pounds there that week.
Wow.
Between the food and the weight, between the food and the heat. So, but I had a couple of fun moments there.
And our daughter went to Civil Air Patrol encampment, which is kind of like a boot camp. She went last year. This year, she got to be a leader and really learned a lot about herself and leadership and made a lot of great friends again. So
yeah, she's still riding that wave. She's still pretty high about that
Very
week.
excited.
So, yeah, that was kind of cool. I'm sorry we missed it.
And then we'll do just a short beach trip to Chicoteague.
Now that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, we'll have no plans, right?
Relax on the beach. And I'm going to use sunscreen this time, so I should be able to enjoy the whole
last
3
year you
days
were a
of
lobster.
it instead of just getting burned on the first day.
But no plans, like a real vacation where we just go and do what we want to as it comes. And so we're looking forward to that. So another question or request that we had was about training your children to attend Mass. And boy, that was like a flashback, wasn't it?
It was a flashback, and I was like, what? I can't even remember how we did that back then, because our kids are a little bit older now.
Well, I think, it's just so important to just get your kids to Mass, but it's not always easy. Kids act up.
Well, every kid's different, right?
Right.
Some kids will be like, okay, I'll sit here for you, and other kids are like, let me out of here.
Yeah, I'm bored or, fidgety or whatever. But I had mentioned... about once the kids were horrible and I had to keep taking them in the back. And this lovely woman who, she goes to 8 o'clock Mass, she had come back to me and say, I just wanted to let you know how good it is to see your wonderful family at Mass every week. And it was one thing that made me think, I'm not going to worry about what other people think. That's the point, is to go to Mass as a family. And like this person had asked us about, how do you train your kids?
Right.
That's just what you need to do. And like you said, every family is different. Every kid is different. So it just took me back to when we first moved here from New York State. We joined a mom's group. I guess it's supposed to be like, play group, kids group, but it's really a mom's group.
Yeah, the moms sit around and talk about the kids. These kids are driving me crazy.
No, but they dominated the back 2 rows in the church. And I thought, wow, that's really a great idea, because then you kind of contain the craziness, the chaos all in one place. But
But then the kids thought it was another play date, right?
Yeah, it wasn't good for us. I think it worked for other families. They were sweet. They'd all bring worksheets for each other and kind of,
like what kind of worksheets? Like math worksheets or like Sudoku puzzles for the kids?
Well, some of them were educational. Some of them were related to Jesus or whatever, But, yeah, that didn't work too well. And some brought food and drinks. We did that early on.
Right.
Remember, we had Cheerios, the little Cheerio container.
Yes.
And then the church didn't really like that. And
No.
I thought, we agreed. Because it was always a mess and begging for food. And that didn't really
like the kid
work.
needs any more food.
Well, anymore, I know it's kind of crazy.
It's nuts.
My college roommate, she kind of had a rule. And I mean, her family's very devoted Catholic family. And her rule was until they were in kindergarten and had to sit in a classroom, she didn't always take her kids.
Oh, so she would just go and leave them at home?
Sometimes. I mean, she'd take them sometimes, but most of the time, if she knew they were just going to give her trouble, she would leave them at home until, they were able to sit through the whole Mass. So, and others, will just keep their kids. You'll hear little kids, making noise, and other families that will rush their kids to the narthex. That was us. We always rushed our noisy kids to the narthex.
Unless it was during the singing part. It's like, they're just singing.
Oh, yeah. As long as there's other noise to drown them out, I didn't mind, but I was worried about that.
I've always liked, I don't know. The big part of Mass for me is the homily. I kind of like listening to the homily. So if a kid's acting up during the homily, it's like, you got to get out. This is the most important part of Mass.
Right. Well, that and the Eucharist. So during the Eucharist part of it, you want to make sure that nobody's being distracted.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We just wanted our kids to learn to pay attention to Mass. And even if they weren't paying attention the whole Mass, we tried to focus on at least pieces of it. So, and
our first church as a married couple was a small country church in New York outside of Rochester. Is actually Churchville, which is kind of funny. The Church Brothers. But it was kind of funny. We went to a church in Churchville, and Lynn and I, we got pretty well known in that church, and they knew of our fertility struggles. Mm-hmm. So they kind of celebrated us when we had Catherine, and we had her baptism at the 8:00 Mass, and that was a special moment,
right?
Because everybody was there and everybody knew what was going on there.
They were always so happy to see her and for us and all that. And she was noisy. About 8-10 months, she was very noisy.
Very noisy. But I think she was only it was like the only young kid at the 8:00 Mass, so everybody had a little bit more higher tolerance for her.
Except for the couple that stand in front of us.
Oh, we didn't want to bring that couple up.
Well, they're not in our listening range.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We can bring them.
But she would sing. And at the end of the hymn, every hymns, she would clap
for a while.
Like, yay.
Yeah.
That was a great song.
That's what I was saying. All right. We only did 2 verses today. Woohoo! Don't have to sing the whole song.
So she was in the narthex a lot. And then when we moved here, both of our toddlers were ones who would escape the pew.
Yes. And it was a little bit of a different challenge here just because the church is so much bigger.
Yeah. And I was always nervous with the tile floor that they would slip and fall and crack their head or something.
That's a mom thing. They're only like a couple feet high. If they slip, they're not going to crack their head.
True.
They're so close to the ground.
So once Matthew was born, we decided we'd always sit in front facing forward where the kids could focus on the altar. You had some bribes.
Yeah, so Matthew was a totally different kid than Catherine. Catherine was, she's a typical firstborn. She kind of like, all right, this is what my parents want me to do. I'll do it. Matthew's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So he was a little bit more, well, maybe because it just happened recently, but I seem to remember him being more fussy. He always, I don't want to go. I remember still.
Not when he was younger, but I think, like later elementary school. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because I remember quite a few times how mad I was trying to get him out of the house.
So if you'd have deals with him, if he didn't give you trouble, we could go for donuts after Mass.
Yes. Or one deal was if he's not the last kid in the car after the priest leaves, he could leave to go get donuts
before we would go.
Before we leave.
Yeah.
Left. And that got him in the car a couple of weeks, but then he just, whatever. But the donuts seemed to work for that kid. Like, look, you want to have donuts afterwards, you could do that. And then another thing we talked about too is the kids got a little bit older. I expressed to them that, hey, it's important for me as the dad that we all go to church as a family. And I will say that they were old enough to kind of comprehend that and say, okay, I see what you're saying. You know?
Right. Yep.
And another thing, if we're talking about trying to train the kids up to go to Mass, is we found that going to the same Mass every Sunday definitely helps. We like to go to 8 o'clock Mass. We like to wake up early at 7 o'clock, go to Mass at 8. And then if they have donuts, we stay and have donuts and coffee. Then we come back and we have a big breakfast, like bacon and eggs and coffee at home.
Right. It's a nice sense of community, too, because they recognize people. We know the ushers well, and different families we'll stop and talk to. And so that makes it really nice.
That's good. And then they know that, like, when we get back. I mean, I personally, Sunday morning, when I get back, just like to have breakfast, have some coffee, read the bulletin. I just like to relax during that Sunday morning. I don't like doing anything, so that's nice. And you are listening to Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF.
Thanks, Al and Linda. Just a word about the radio station. If you like what you're listening to here, you can donate to the radio station by going to our Facebook page, WSJF, and hitting the donate button. Or you can write a check, make it out to St. Joseph Catholic Community, put radio or WSJF on the memo line, and hand it in at any Mass into the basket. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the show. Al and Linda?
So when they were really little, I remember my mom buying the kids Mass books and the rosary beads, the wooden rosary beads, so that they would have something.
Didn't she get the Episcopal Mass book?
No.
So wasn't she trying to bring them over?
For those of you who don't know, I grew up as an Episcopalian, and my parents are Episcopalian.
Yeah.
But they have always, I remember that call telling them that I was converting.
I'm switching.
I didn't think they would be mad at me, but I was just so nervous to tell them. But they've always supported us. They recognize the importance of going to church together as a family, and they knew that's why we had done it.
It's a good thing you didn't have to tell them now, because you'd have to FaceTime with your mom. Now it was just a phone call.
Face-to-face. Yeah, back then.
She didn't even know who it was back then.
Get Dad on the other line. But
what's going on?
So that was neat. That they had something from our faith in their hands in Mass. And I would always point out the colors on the altar and watch that the candles were lit and the different color flowers, or Father's vestments, how, that related to what season it was, and watching the altar servers so they knew that was an option in the future. And we would try to pre-read the readings and pick up on key words. So I would say, maybe there would be the word spirit in the readings, and I would have them count the number of times that word was spoken in the different readings, or maybe even in the homily. Right.
And then another two, we were involved in the church when they were kind of young, so they knew that, your kids are going to be watching you.
Right.
If you are excited to go to Mass, or if you're loathing to go to Mass, your kids are going to take the cue from you. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say you need to be excited, but you'd be like, hey, we're going to Mass today.
Yep.
It's going to be a great day today. If they're younger. When they get older, this is a different story.
Yeah.
But I remember Matthew was having trouble going, and I'm like, look, you need to go at least twice a month. Like, I gave him a break, I think.
Yeah, that's right. When he was younger, you did that.
Because he just was like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. But I'm like, you're living in my house, under my roof. You need to go twice a month is not an unreasonable request from me for you. And
but we always went.
But they always went. So I think maybe he just rationalized it or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, and at Mass, we participate fully. We say all the prayers. We sing.
Even off key.
Every verse.
Every verse that they're going to sing.
Yeah. And when we homeschooled, we did all our studies at the house, we would study the Gospel of the week each day. And so it was funny to see the kids looking at each other when they'd hear the reading or hear the homily. They understood it. They would kind of look at each other like, oh, yeah, I remember that,
From last year, the week before.
Right. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Another thing, too, is I would always ask them about the homily.
When we still do that, right?
We still do that, right? So if I'll be like, well, did you listen to the homily? I was like, most of the time it's like, no, I was goofing around, which is fine. But I'm like,
no, they weren't. They always share what they do hear, and it's always interesting to hear what we all hear. It's always different, right?
Yeah, their perspective is a little bit different. So, but if you ask them that kind of stuff, they'll be more inclined to pay attention. Like, oh, I know Dad's going to be asking me about this.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll pay a little bit more attention. Maybe not. I don't know. Like we said, every kid's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So, and then, involving the family in the church, like Linda said, Catherine was an altar server, and then Matthew didn't want to be an altar server because I asked him a couple times because I was an altar server.
So was I.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, that was before that was BC, before Catholic. So that doesn't count.
Okay.
So Matthew did a little bit of ushering, which is kind of cool. I mean, I liked seeing him. He would always dress in a suit. He thought
he did really well.
He did well, but now he's like, I'm not going to do that anymore, which is fine.
Both the kids they're I don't know if it's the age or what, but they both said they'd rather stay with the family and participate in the Mass.
Right.
Like really focus on the Mass, which is really cool that they want to do that. But, both you and I have involved ourselves in different things throughout the years to help with Mass. Like you've ushered before and you do stuff with the night's activities. I did welcoming committee. I still do CLO. And we're always looking for new CLO leaders.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yes,
just thought I put that plug in. But it just shows them that, you can be involved and they're taking a break, which is fine.
Yeah, it was kind of, I can't remember when it was, but I remember the Sunday where Matthew didn't want to go to CLO. I was like, really? You going to stay? He's like, yeah, I'm going to stay. So that was a big deal. Like, to me, that was a big deal. It's like all four of us stayed and listened to the homily. And then it was like, all right, what'd you think after Mass?
Right. It's just a different feeling when you're all sitting as a family hearing the same thing
or nodding off if it's not very good.
Yeah.
Somebody does that once in a while.
We all use our elbows going your way, right?
My way. You don't understand how hard I work all week.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about things that we did, and I don't mean to make us sound like, we're at the church all the time because we're definitely not. But I did when the kids were little, and we had a little bit more flexibility in time. I tried to get them to the church on days other than the regular weekend Mass. So, we probably went to a few daily Masses, which are shorter. So when they're little, they kind of get used to that. Or we did the rosary in the chapel.
The chapel. Well, the daily Mass is in the chapel, so that's really close.
Right.
So everybody could see
really
what's going on. And plus, it's only 30 minutes. That's a real short homily, 2 or 3 minutes. And the rosary, I did like going to the rosary. We don't go as much as we used to, but the nights do a rosary every Tuesday night at 7:30. We try to get there maybe once a month or so. Again, that was kind of spurred on by me. So, like, if you're the dad of the house, you have to be the champion of doing stuff like that because the kids will follow their dad. Right. For some reason.
Well, that was cool for me, too, because I didn't grow up with the rosary. I knew the Hail Mary and, of course, our Father.
Right.
But I didn't know how to do a whole rosary. And the group is so lovely. I mean, they're just wonderful people. And I stumbled, but nobody judges you. It's really about just being there together and doing the rosary. It's wonderful. And I took them to perpetual adoration, too. And they don't stay the whole hour when they're little. But if you even get 5 or 10 minutes in there just to get them practiced of sitting, that's in the chapel, too. So it's a smaller venue. And just sitting quietly and saying prayers or reading, one of their books about Christ or something. It's nice. And get them in there for feast days and special services, or sometimes the years they have Vespers. And you don't have to stay for the whole thing. I mean, it's nice, but it just gets them used to
going to Mass,
going to the church and being around our community.
All right, so let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Same Mass.
We out.
Donuts. So, like we said, you're a kid, but maybe sit in the front.
We liked sitting in the front.
So
I know other people
everything.
like to sit in the back, especially now our neighbors, they have 4 kids, and that's a lot to manage. At least we had one for each of us. So I love that Father behind the glass has chairs set up for young families. So, and then our neighbors are so sweet. They're like, we we graduated to the last row inside the church and we made it.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. I like how they show that.
And remember, when your kids are grown and can sit still, to go to those families. And like this woman said to us, we're really happy to see your family here so that they feel welcome and that we understand. We've been there before.
All right, so that's the end of that one, right?
Yeah.
So we got another hodgepodge. So I wanted to bring up, we talked about the family. We talked a little bit about vacation. So let's talk about the marriage part of things.
The marriage part. So we both listened to podcasts, different podcasts that had a similar
at
theme.
different times.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in different places.
So in the busyness of summer, where you're running all over the place, like we just said, it's important that you remember to stay connected to your spouse. And this one guy said, commitment and connection. Those are the two things that make a happy marriage. Is that true, Linda?
Yes, exactly. And you heard it on the Family Man podcast. I heard it on, it's a Catholic couple called the Messy Family podcast. And so they were talking about commitment. That's the easy part, right?
Well, sometimes it's
people.
hard. I was kind of hoping to go golfing tonight, but, here we are.
Here we are.
I'm committed to you, babe.
Yeah.
I'm here. We're committed, and our 6 listeners. So there's commitment. And I asked you tonight, how do you know that I'm committed to you?
That you didn't go golfing.
That I didn't go golfing, right?
So, you choose your family. I'm not saying that you don't, do stuff that you want to do, but you always pick us first or ask, hey, would it be okay? It's not like you just disappear and show up home.
Yeah,
2 hours after dinner or something.
Hey, where's dinner? So that's the commitment part. And connection part is very different for the genders, mostly, I guess, right? So a woman, generally speaking, not all women, you guys like to talk. That's how you connect.
Our connection is to catch up and have quality time.
Oh, gosh, the conversation, 15, 20 minutes a night. How long is it? And you got to know everything about your day. How was your day? What kind of day was it? Well, what happened today?
Kramer again? All right. Well, it's about the relationship.
Yes. I'm just kidding around. But so we really haven't had that many conversations lately. We usually, Linda, have it in the morning, and I've just been working in the morning.
And I've been sleeping.
Yes. So we catch up at night. Now, for a guy, his connection is usually physical. Yes. Intimacy.
Right.
With his wife. That's how.
Not to say that it isn't for women, but yes.
Mostly guys. It's like, that's when I feel the closest to you.
When you're close to me.
Yes. When I'm physically close to you.
Right. Yep.
So just be cognizant of that during the summer, because you could get caught up in day camps and going all over the place with the kids. Remember that you got to reconnect with your spouse and
make that time.
Make that a priority. You, as your dad always told you, and my dad never really said that to me, but it's like, Lynn and I have made a promise to God that we're going to be faithful and to each other. The kids are the blessing of that. Though some would say it's a curse. But in our case, the kids are a blessing.
Yes, my dad always said that I made a vow to your mother. I didn't to you.
That's right.
So when push came to shove, I've took 2 meetings that. I mean, he's clearly committed to my mom. They've been married over 50 years.
Right.
But also for the kids to see that as an example and know that we are committed to each other. It gives them some stability.
Right. I mean, it's better when the kids know that you're glued together. Mm-hmm. It's better for everybody in the whole family. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But to have that connection, that relationship is, doubly important. And I was thinking the parallel to our faith is not that we just go to Mass every week, but that we have a relationship with Christ. And that's where the hard work is, right? It's easy to go to Mass, to show up.
Well, sometimes it's not easy.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to say, I'm sleeping in today.
But it's easier than having to take that additional time to really make the relationship meaningful.
Right.
That's
see what you're saying.
I fail most of the time.
So, wow.
So, great.
All right, so I don't think we have any more hodgepodge stuff to talk about, do we?
No, the last thing that we will make for the next episode. We had some questions on schooling, the different things that we've done through our kids' lives, and then Al and I have been reading a lot about, I guess I would call it job training. The different options that are out there. There is
Yeah.
college, but there's so many other options for our kids.
So that's going to be the next
I
episode?
think that would be the next episode.
That'll be episode 12.
A whole year.
That's craziness.
Yep.
Seems like we just started this. All right, so that's going to be our next show. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, in the month of August, to spend some time together with your spouse and with your family. And we'll see you at church with your kids. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to WSJF.